Okay, so today I'll be showcasing the combat tree and the ability tree. I won't be covering the traversal tree because all of those can be found on Ender's channel, so there's really no point in me doing it. That and it does take a long time to grind these points. Without further ado, let's start off with our first ability in the combat tree. So this is the swift kick. It's a pretty basic move, very similar to a regular punch as they both do the same damage. The only difference is that this knocks your enemies down instantly, so really it's nothing too special. So let's move on to number 2. So this move here is the tornado spin. It's a simple AoE move. There's not much to say about it, but once you get this ability, it'll be much easier to grind the mobs as you'll be able to hit multiple enemies at once, and that's about it. So anyways, moving on to skill number 3. So this here is the ground slam. It's basically just another big AoE move that knocks all of your enemies down. Not only does it knock them down, but it also knocks them back, as you can see here. But one way I found to prevent this is to do a tornado spin and then do a ground slam right after, and then they won't fly away. So combo these two together and it will make question much easier. So moving on to number 4 now. So this is the Tangled Web. It's classified as an ultimate ability and can only be equipped to G if I'm not mistaken. So this basically is just another AoE move where you spam web blasts all around you, webbing up any enemies in the surrounding area. This is a good ability to use with the previous abilities. The only thing I will say is that I do wish that it did more damage. But then again, this is a demo as they stated, so who knows, maybe they'll change in the future. So anyways, moving on to number 5. So first I'm going to show you the regular combat, which is this. And now I'm going to show you the spider combat. So the spider combat doesn't increase your damage or anything. What I will say is it kind of makes your combat faster. I can't really say for sure. It does look a little bit faster than the regular combat. But what I do know for sure is that the animations are different. And that seems to be about it. The finishers don't change. So you still have the regular finisher. So out of all the combat abilities, I'd probably say this one is the least worth it. So if you want to grind the skill tree, I recommend all the other abilities, just skip out on this one. For 15 points, this is really not worth it. I honestly wish that I knew that it was this bad before I grinded for it. But it is what it is. Now we're going to move on to the ability tree. So the first move in the ability tree is web pull. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just pull the enemy towards you. It doesn't do any extra damage or anything like that. You just bring them towards you and that's it. So the second ability in the ability tree is hammer spin. So this is basically another AoE move, and it's very similar to tornado spin. I'd actually say it's an upgraded version of tornado spin, since they seem to have the same radius, and this does 6 damage per hit, while the tornado spin does 4. So moving on to our third ability in the ability tree, we have Mace Slam. So this ability is basically just like ground slam, but this one you kind of have to aim it, while ground slam you just go up and down. But this does do more damage than ground slam by like 5. So between ground slam and Mace Slam, I definitely use your points on Mace Slam because they're basically the same move, except Mace Slam just does more damage. And that's about it. So that's all for the ability tree. And now I'm just going to give you guys 2 extra combat tips that you might have not known. So this first one is fairly simple. If you want to web up your enemies, first you have to enter shift lock by pressing control, and then all you gotta do is right click, and that's it. This is really useful against the enemies with guns, as the only other way to hit them is with an AoE move. And my last tip is air combat. So to do air combat is pretty simple. All you want to do is hold spacebar down and click, and that's it. The air combat is pretty useful, to be honest, because you basically drain your enemy's whole entire health bar, and by the time the air combat finishes, and you're both on the ground, all you gotta do is press F, and they're already dead. So if you're tired of waiting for your enemies to get back up after you knock them back, try doing an air combo, and let me know how it goes. So those are all the tips. Thank you for watching. Detective out.